Hey, how's it going? My name's Sharissa and welcome to my very first vlog. Now, today is a special day. It marks 3 months since my endometriosis surgery and official diagnosis. And it's also the beginning of Endometriosis Awareness Month. Now, I'll go into what endometriosis is a bit later. I might share a screenshot of kind of what it is and a list of symptoms that it might include. And I just want to say as well, I'm not a medical professional, but I'm going to share a bit of my journey with endometriosis and getting to the point of diagnosis. So I live in Melbourne, Australia, and I am 25 years old. I will stumble over my words a bit, but just bear with me. Yeah, so today I wanted to take you along a bit of a story time as my first vlog, and given that it is kind of the month where I am really excited about. Now, this will get a bit graphic, just a warning, a little bit TMI, and just kind of honest, you know. And I will probably read off my phone a bit as well, but it's my story, my journey, and I do know it off the top of my head. But I just don't want to ramble on for too long today. So, where to begin? I guess we have to go back to when it all started, really. So when I was 10 years old in grade 5, 1 week before we were given like a health talk of, you know, what to expect when our periods come as the primary school girls. 1 week before hell arrived in my sweet innocent body was I told even what a period is. So I was lucky enough to get that little bit of information, or I might have freaked out and thought I was dying when it came. So yeah, since it started at 10 years old, I experienced heavy, painful and prolonged periods. It took a really long time to even understand that what I was going through wasn't normal, and it kind of shows a gap in the kind of what's taught in sex ed and puberty education stuff. You know, I was never told that if I'm having really heavy painful periods that it's not normal, and if I'm having periods longer than 8, 9, 10, 14 days that it's not normal either. But yeah, since I was about 12, thereabouts, I started seeing doctors, trying to figure out why I was in pain, why I was struggling so much. But it all just came up as, oh, some girls just have heavy painful periods, you know, you just got to get over it. And that was really hard. Yeah, so when I was 15, I had a ovarian cyst, and the hospital thought that, you know, it was probably my appendix. So went to hospital, had my appendix out, and while they were in there, they ruptured the cyst by accident. They weren't gynecologist doctors, they were just gastroenterologists, whatever, performing that appendix removal. And so yeah, even at that stage I was experiencing awful periods, and it was probably something they should have picked up on at that time, but they didn't. So fast forward, you know, I struggled throughout all of my teens, and I bled so heavily that I leaked all the time and had to wear super pads and super tampons together. I could never just wear a pad by itself without birth control. And I couldn't wear a tampon by itself, which, you know, looking back, you know, I should have really picked up on these signs. You know, most girls, they get away with just wearing a tampon, and I had to wear a super tampon and a super pad to get through the 4-hour period of a, you know, period. So yeah, when I was 19, I experienced the first lot of just abnormal, crazy things happening. I had a period for about 27 days, so pretty much a month. I went to several doctors in that month trying to work out what's going on, because prior to that I'd never had spotting, hadn't missed periods, and I had not bled for a month, so it was crazy. And then that's what led me to find my current doctor. So he's the first person that believed me that something is really wrong. Before I found him, the doctor, in like my 3rd week of heavy bleeding, said, oh, some women just have heavy, painful periods that last longer than normal. You're fine. But I was not fine. I was like bleeding out. And so the only thing the doctor, the new doctor, the good doctor that I've seen ever since, thought to do was put me on tranexamic acid and the birth control pill. Now, that seemed to help with the bleeding and all that, but the pain never went away. I would still feel like I'm getting hit in the stomach with a baton at random times of the month. So it didn't matter if it was my period time or if it was just ovulation time or just random. My body just had its way with me. So at 21, it kind of happened again. And I freaked out, but I trusted my doctor, and I knew that he's awesome and he will take care of me. So over the course of that 3 weeks, I saw him several times, and his advice was, you know, if it gets any worse, go to hospital. And so me and my then fiance were at McDonald's, and this flare hit me at like 9-10 o'clock at night, and I was stuck in the toilet for like half an hour, bleeding out and having period poops. I told you I was going to be a bit TMI, so no apologies. But I felt really faint and I went white as a ghost, and clearly I'm not 100% white. So it was very scary, and I literally, my heart was racing. I felt like I was about to hit the deck. And so my husband had to call an ambulance, and the ambulance came. They sent a mica because I was having trouble breathing. And they got me settled, and I had to go to hospital in an ambulance. And they, you know, helped me relax and everything. And at the hospital they just did blood work. Said, oh, you're fine, it's nothing. And told me to go home at like 3 in the morning. So I had to wake up my poor dad to come and get me. So that was awful. And my doctor's solution after that was go on the pill and don't have a period every 3 months. So it was quite hard being on that. And in the August of that year, I finally got to see the hospital's gynecologist, who decided, let's give you an IUD, and hopefully that will help with the pain and the bleeding and the cramping. But it really didn't, and I was one of the unfortunate few that still had periods while on the IUD, which is not supposed to happen. So I had to be on the birth control pill as well as the IUD to manage the bleeding and the pain. So it was just all these hormones just rushing through my body. And so I was on that constantly for about a year and a half, a year maybe, until I decided to stop taking the pill continuously and just deal with the periods, because my body was raging with hormones and not very happy with me. So yeah, I got married that year, and then it was all fine and dandy for a month. Seriously, I was expecting, everything to be fine, everything to just be amazing, and in our honeymoon phase, and we made it to a month. And so I had really weird things going on. I constantly felt nauseated and sick, and the hospital, all they're thinking is, oh, you're probably having an ectopic pregnancy or something like that. So they kept pregnancy testing me, and it's very disheartening. We weren't at the stage of when we even thought about trying, and then being told, oh, you could be having a pregnancy that isn't viable. So that was really hard. And yeah, I got to go to hospital 3 times in a week, and none of those times really did anything for me. But I slowly got a bit better, slowly. And yeah, it took, my body kind of settled down for a little while, and then later that year I had my first episode of spotting, which I'd never had before, and so that was just my body throwing more and more curveballs at me. And yeah, in 2019, when I was 23, so another year or so passed after that kind of being sick all the time. I got sick for about a week with extreme nausea, extreme vomiting, couldn't keep anything down. So yeah, on that Sunday when I got admitted to hospital, I asked the doctor, could this be endometriosis? Now, the crazy thing was, I'd never heard of endometriosis before March 2019. And the way I found out about it was because of Endometriosis Awareness Month, which is March. So it was really lucky timing that the information I needed was presented to me in various forms over that month. And so I was able to kind of go through the list of symptoms and kind of think about my journey towards where I was at that moment, getting violently ill in the hospital. And so I asked the doctor, could this be endometriosis related? Could it just be a bad flare of endometriosis? And they said, we can't investigate it here. All we can do for you is get you to stop vomiting and eat something. And so they kind of brushed it off, but they were like, yeah, we've had a look at your records, it probably could be. But you'll have to follow that up with your general practitioner. So that was that pretty much, and I got carted away to short stay after I couldn't keep anything down. And so the next day was a public holiday, so they couldn't even do anything except, keep me hydrated. And I think they took me in for the ultrasound that day. But all they saw was some free fluid in my pouch of Douglas. I'd never even heard of that before, so can't tell you what that means. But yeah, it was just such a bizarre set of circumstances at that trip to hospital. And I was there for 3 days. And yeah, so it was the next day that the hospital gynecologist could come and see me, and it was like late in the day, and they did swabs and investigations and whatever, but they're like, oh, we can't do anything if it's endometriosis related. We can try and test you for this thing called pelvic inflammatory disease, which you probably don't have, but we'll try and give you some treatment for it anyway in case it could be that, which it wasn't. And so I got to go home on Tuesday night, and when I got home I threw up again. So it wasn't very pleasant, and I got to rest the next day, and slowly I stopped being sick and I was able to eat, so that was really good. But yeah, that was the first step of me finding out the process towards getting a diagnosis here in Australia. So I needed a referral for a endo specialist with the hospital, and so I opted to go with the Royal Women's. I just had enough of the Northern Hospital. It wasn't working for me. They weren't really doing enough investigation for me to feel satisfied that they could do this properly. So the doctor who referred me told me, oh, it's going to be 6 months. So it got to around the 6-month point, and I was pestering the Royal Women's. They're like, no, it's going to be 12 months for this pre-op appointment. And so I patiently waited. I probably went to hospital 2 or 3 more times since then. And last May I finally got to see one of the hospital gynecologists to do the consult. And that was good because it was in the middle of COVID, and I thought it's going to just get pushed back again. So I was happy that they were able to keep my referral and my consultation. So not long after that, we went into stage 4 lockdowns here in Victoria, and what was supposed to be 90-day turnaround for surgery became another 7 months. Now that was really hard because my life was on hold this whole 18 months, but I held on to hope that they would find this and that there would be some relief finally. So on December 1st, 2020, I had my laparoscopy to officially diagnose endometriosis. So they found it from the left to the right of behind my uterus, so all the scans that were done were useless because you can't see through the uterus and to the other side. That just doesn't work. But yeah, they found a quite significant amount of endometriosis. And there was also some scar tissue around where my appendix was removed. And in general, it just wasn't in great shape in there. Prior to the surgery. So I'm preparing for my first endometriosis laparoscopy on Tuesday this week. It's currently Sunday, and I spent the weekend trying to clean and organize my house with a friend. But I really want to document this journey now that I'm finally having surgery. I've been waiting since pretty much March last year to have surgery done. And I'm really excited, but I'm also really nervous. Just thinking about, I've waited so long for this and it's finally happening. And so I've just kind of freaked out a little bit about getting the house in order and making sure that everything is prepared so that I don't have to do anything while I'm recovering. I'm really excited that I'll get to have some time off and rest. Hopefully these bags under my eyes can disappear. And I'm also going to finally do my eyebrows tomorrow, because I want to look beautiful for myself. So yeah, I'll finally get my eyebrows done, to get beautiful for the surgeons, and you know, I won't be able to go out for a few weeks afterwards. Yeah, I'm really excited that I can finally have some answers. All my medical professionals are heading towards that this is endometriosis, so they'd be very surprised if it's not. So for the past month, I've actually bled the whole month. So it's kind of getting urgent to try and work out what's going on, because in the last ultrasound I had, they saw that my fallopian tube was full of blood instead of it being an ovarian cyst, so the doctor, I think, was a bit concerned. Just to get on top of that, like, you know, it's not good for me to keep bleeding for a whole month. Like, it sucks. But at the same time, like, I've been able to carry on with most of my normal lifestyle. And I'm really lucky I didn't have to take any time off work for, you know, my heavy bleeding days or my really bad flare days. Because, yeah, now I'm taking most of December off work. So that's been really challenging for me. Like, I'm a disability support worker, so I take my job, like, really personally. I love all the people that I work with, and I feel so incredibly guilty having to take, you know, 2 weeks off, not seeing any of them or helping them. And then I've booked a holiday for our wedding anniversary, so I'm really excited, but that also means another week off work in December, so hopefully December becomes a really good month. Hopefully I get the answers that I've been waiting for all this time. And yeah, so it's the morning of surgery. I got up about 6:15 this morning and had an up and go because I could have something light before 7 a.m. So I've cleaned my dishes and my lounge room, and just make sure it's all nice and tidy for when I come home, so my husband can find anything he needs that I ask him for. Got my bag all packed, and I'm just waiting for my mum to come and pick me up to take me to my mother-in-law's, who's going to take me to the hospital. So, bit of a journey today, but yeah, I'm excited, and hopefully it all goes well, and I'll finally have some answers today, which will be just amazing. Okay, see you on the other side. Bye. So I'm back home now after having my endometriosis laparoscopy. Surgery went well. I've slept most of the afternoon since having it. Yeah. So I've heard the doctors saying, you know, I got pretty much every pain-killing drug and stuff while I was under. So I haven't been too bad since waking up, but yeah, it went well. The surgeon came and spoke to me when I was awake, and she said, we did find endometriosis behind your uterus, and she said they excised it and that they sent it off for a biopsy and all that. But yeah, I'm really happy that, you know, I'm not crazy, and that I finally have a confirmed diagnosis. It's been a long time coming, and I'm just really glad to have some answers now. I'm very exhausted, so I've slept the whole car ride home, and I'm probably gonna fall asleep pretty soon after I have some more pain medication. And yeah, just been eating some Ritz crackers and Cheezos to try and get something into my belly, something easy to eat. And yeah, I'll make an update of how I'm feeling tomorrow. Hopefully I don't experience more pain than I've had so far, so see how I go. Right. Take care, bye. You know, even the doctors there were saying, why don't you just give up on trying to have surgery and just try and get pregnant? Now, while that is something I want, it would not have been a good pregnancy if I'd gotten pregnant with all this endo lining the back of my uterus. You know, it would have been awful and so painful, and I was already in so much chronic pain. So I'm really glad that I went ahead with the surgery and got my official diagnosis. So since then, things have been alright, a bit up and down. That's life though. So in December, things were really good. I was able to have 3 weeks off work out of the whole month, 2 weeks for my surgery, and then a week to go on holiday with my husband, which we hadn't been able to do because our lives were on hold waiting for my surgery, pretty much. And so we were able to go on a nice little holiday for our 3rd anniversary, and things were good in December. In January, yeah, it was alright. My December and January periods were surreal. They were like barely painful, barely any cramps, barely any blood. And for me it felt like this can't be my period. In my whole 14 and a half years of having periods, I'd never had such painless and stress-free periods. So it was phenomenal, but it was also like an out-of-body experience, really. So January was alright with kind of dealing with you know, being back in work, kind of getting back to normal life, and not being so hard on myself because, you know, I just had surgery a month prior, so I rested as well as I could in January. And in February I decided that I wanted to take back something that my endo had stolen from me, my health and fitness. So along the way on this endo journey to getting the diagnosis, I'd been on several birth controls and just feeling crap and just unmotivated and having no energy. So my health and fitness has really suffered since my early teens, really. So yeah, I've started going to the gym 3 times a week, and it's just been life-changing to feel normal. But on the downside, this past month I've had spotting or heavy bleeding every day of the month. So it hasn't been an easy month kind of body-wise, but mentally it has been a really good month. Now going forward, things are gonna hopefully get even better. I'm hoping it's just a bit of a February blip in my body going on. Hopefully my periods kind of settle back into a regular cycle again, as we are, you know, hopeful that God may be willing to give us a child this year. But at the end of the day, my health and well-being is what has really mattered. I can't even think of raising a family if I can't even get out of bed. So it's been really good. And yeah. I know this has been a bit of a heavy topic for my first video, but I really hope to make this channel not just about endometriosis, but you know, fun things too. Fashion videos, beauty, hanging out with my family and my husband, and going on little adventures when I'm not busy working all the time. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and if you have any questions or you know, you feel like you relate to my story, you know, comment, give me a like, subscribe, I don't know. It's my first video, so I don't know really how to end this, but thank you so much for watching, and have a great Endometriosis Awareness Month. Bye.